Well, the Dallas Cowboys didn't draft a running back over the weekend, but they did agree to terms this morning with Ezekiel Elliott, bringing the three-time Pro Bowler back on a one-year deal. They also added linebacker Damian Wilson. Houston Texans wide receiver Tank Dell was one of 10 people shot on Sunday morning at a nightclub in Stanford, Florida. He suffered minor injuries and has already been released from the hospital. Extra Innings with Pledge coming up next.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That goal is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Dave? Can't stop me now.
My goodness, welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Appreciate y'all stopping through and joining me this evening. I'll take you up till 7 o'clock. Tons to get into. NFL Draft, one of my favorite things happened over the weekend. Plus, we got a new highest paid tight end in the NFL, and it's someone who it should be. That is right, Travis Kelce. He and the Chiefs agreed to a deal, 2-year extension, tax over $34 million onto his deal that he has, makes him the highest paid tight end in the league. Cowboys, Texans, both finishing up their draft, and lots to react to as it pertains to that. In terms of the Cowboys, it was solid, right? Nothing fancy, nothing sexy, just solid. They get Guyton on day one. They get what is considered a very underrated edge rusher in Nealon on day two. Then they go Cooper Beebe, the guard from Kansas State, the linebacker from Notre Dame, and they needed linebacker help, so that gives them some depth at that position. Wide receiver Ryan Flory, another offensive lineman in Nathan Thomas, and I kept hearing Kuiper refer to this when it came to the NFL draft coverage. If they don't walk away with 3 offensive linemen, it was a failure of a draft. If they don't, well, they walked away with 3 offensive linemen. And they also brought in defensive tackle Justin Rogers out of Auburn. Texans, couple picks after him, also take another defensive tackle out of Auburn. Both of those guys I really like. But when I look at that draft and I see the 3 offensive linemen, that tells me a couple of different things. It tells me what they really think about the offensive linemen they kept pumping up all offseason with Ball, Richards, Waletzko, Bass, even Steele to an extent. They also didn't draft a center. So I'm not sure what it means for Brock Hoffman. He still may be their center of the future. It also may give a peek into how much longer with the Cooper Beebe signing or draft, how much longer they think Zach Martin's got left in him and whether that contract will pan out. They didn't draft a quarterback. They didn't sign a quarterback. They are content with their quarterbacks that they have on the roster, which all have 1 year left on their deal. Which tells me the fact that I think Dak Prescott will get his extension here in the next couple of days or next couple of months. I think he'll have an extension before training camp. There's nothing else on the roster. They didn't draft anything else. And the guy that they potentially did has a contract that expires at the same time. And on Thursday, the 2nd, we will know for certain when they don't pick up the 5th-year option on Trey Lance, that he is not the future of that. So we will find out more and more once we get further along with the Dallas Cowboys, where they think Dak Prescott is and whether he gets an extension or not. But they didn't draft a running back. Now, they did sign one as an undrafted free agent in Nathaniel Pete, but they bring in Zeke Elliott today, and Stephen Jones on why they didn't draft a running back.
I think a lot of times there's always a question mark. Will you really, really, really stick to your board? And it just felt like every time the situation was there, for us to make a pick and do the right thing, it wasn't at running back. We had running backs. We'd be thinking, okay, our pick's coming, in 10 picks, 8 picks, 5 picks away. There'd be around, and then, he might be taken. Or, we obviously had a group of running backs there in that, space where I think there were 75 or 85 players that we had to watch leave the board. And we had a handful of backs that would have been backs that we would have considered, but it just didn't work out. And, at the end of the day, you stay true to what you're about. And, I think obviously our corner here, Kalen Carson, he was just a guy that was sitting there, he's kind of just jumping out at you because of the grade we had on him versus the rest of the board. And, you just have to jump on a guy like that. And, that was the right thing for us to do at the time. And, we'll have opportunities throughout to address this running back situation. And I feel like we'll get that done. And, it makes a running back's job a lot easier when the guys up front are doing their job. And I think we really helped that situation today in terms of the foundation of our offensive line group. And we just feel like, we can address it.
Now, they addressed it by bringing in Zeke Elliott, who is now RB1 in that room. You could argue Rico Dowdle is RB1 in that room, but as it is currently constructed, there isn't a running back with the amount of experience nor the actual production on the Cowboys roster that produced even to what Zeke Elliott did last year for the New England Patriots. So as we sit today, Ezekiel Elliott is one of the top running backs within the Dallas Cowboys running back room. The problem is, at least with Jerry and Steven, doesn't mean they're quite done when it comes to acquiring players.
Stephen, and I'm not holding you to this, but we can probably trade with another club pretty much for the next 6 or 7 months, can't we?
Oh, absolutely. All the way through the trade deadline.
Well,
and then as we know, with a little turnover on our staff, we've got guys who, with Zim coming in and Dan going out, there's a little difference in philosophy, and they like their guys, and we like now maybe a little different type of guy. There's no massive turnover, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of, opportunities there that maybe could help both of us. And then some of Dan's guys went to different teams too. So all those are opportunities that could evolve with our rosters.
I've seen teams win the Super Bowl with running backs that they traded for in midseason. So the point is that this thing's a long way from being over as to how you're going to line up against X next fall.
That is somewhat of a very, very condescending statement, it sounded like, by the two of them as they were addressing the media, trying to figure out why they have ignored the running back position via the draft, via free agency for the most part. So the Cowboys are where they are at this point. The Texans, they also completed their draft over the weekend. I liked Kamari Lassiter. I understood the Blake Fisher pick. Look, the Texans were not drafting for any needs specifically. So they were taking what they felt were the best players on their board at the time when they made those picks. And they moved up to get some of those players, much like they did Kalen Bullock in the second round, the safety out of, or third round, the safety out of USC, giving up that extra fourth rounder that they had to make that move with the Eagles. It's unspectacular, but they went with the best players and upside and brought in players that don't necessarily need to contribute because they don't need rookies to contribute immediately. They're not beholden on making sure that any one of the people they just picked has to start when they play their first game whenever the NFL releases their schedule and they play their first game the first week in September. The Texans, if one of them steps up and has to play, absolutely. But they by no means think that they need any one of those guys to come in and contribute on day one. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, Rob Thompson from the Morning Huddle will be joining me as we break down the Cowboys draft, what he thought of what they did, also the Texans, plus Brian Windhorst's comments today on Pat McAfee and where they may be going. We'll discuss it all with Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle coming up next right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Tyler Guyton joining us here on The Blitz. Played right tackle. Now you're going to go over to left tackle is where they have you penciled in. Mike McCarthy described last night the difference of right tackle and left tackle. His words, it's like wiping with the wrong hand. How difficult do you think it will be for you to make the transition from the right side to the left side?
I mean, honestly, I guess I've been wiping with both hands this whole time like I'm ambidextrous. I've been playing both. My 4 years in college, I've been split down the middle 2 and 2 with right tackle and left tackle. Honestly, I think I'm better at left. I feel more comfortable at left, and that's what I started off doing.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic, creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
What's keeping you from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make learning fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. And in 10 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
That's not long.
It's not hard.
It's perfect.
It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Shop our best savings of the season during SpringFest at Lowe's. Right now, save on Stay Green 1 cubic foot garden soil. Get 5 bags for just $10. And buy 2 select paints and exterior stains and get 1 free via Lowe's gift card rebate. Shop in-store and online today because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/1. Stay Green offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Paint offer while supplies last. Excludes paint and stain samples. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts, until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchisor SPV LLC.
The Big Blind is celebrating their official grand opening May 8th through the 12th with an epic weekend Wednesday the 8th. 10K tournaments Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with $500 high hands every half hour and a 5K Texas free roll on Sunday. Plus, daily blackjack tournaments. Plan now to celebrate the Big Blind grand opening next week. The Big Blind down from the roof of at 281 in Redland Road. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
If you're looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, we're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. Prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Call Term Provider at 800-337-4168. 800-337-4168.
This is the absolute worst time of year to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do the outdoor stuff that you love to do, like golfing, hiking, biking, jogging, playing on the beach. Hey, it's James Pledger with San Antonio Sports Star. Listen, don't go through the summer missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to your achy joints, like your knees, hips, back, shoulders. QC's regenerative medicine protocols can restore and repair that damaged tissue with no surgery, no steroids, no drugs, and best of all, no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country are living their best life this year because they made the call. QC medical professionals are under the direction of Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, who is an orthopedic surgeon who became the future pioneer in regenerative medicine. He knew there had to be a better way. So call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
This is Jim Rome. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's get wild.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Of course, you can always watch the show and comment along on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like, subscribe, comment along with the show. As Daniel Batista says, what's up, Pledge? What's going on, my guy? Hope everybody's doing good this weekend. James Romaldi says the Steelers had the best draft. But as it pertains to the NFL draft, I wanted to get a friend's opinion, especially when it comes to the Cowboys draft. And I decided to bring in one of my great friends, also co-host of the Morning Huddle, happens to be a big Cowboys fan, Rob Thompson, joining me on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Rob, what were your initial thoughts after the weekend when the Dallas Cowboys had all said and done gone through with their draft picks?
Hold on just a second, James. I'm Googling the Steelers draft. I'm trying to figure out what went on in Pittsburgh that I missed. Hey, James, I'm glad to be here. What do I think about the Dallas Cowboys draft? They didn't screw it up, James. They didn't draft a running back. I mean, I'll say the obvious stuff. We were joking as I was coming on. I don't even get to know these guys' names until they've been around for a year. Obviously, that's a bit of a reach. Looking at what, unlike everybody else, they did what they needed to do. They didn't swing too hard for anything extraordinary. I don't think they reached for anything. They didn't draft a running back, but in hindsight, that was the plan. So they planned their work. They worked their plan, and I give them a good, solid, hearty C+. How's that?
Now, when you saw what they did, and we knew they needed offensive line help, at least at tackle and possibly center. Now, they don't get a center. They end up bringing in Cooper Beebe, who is a guard at Kansas State, and maybe that tells us how close to hanging it up Zach Martin is. But I think really in drafting 3 offensive linemen in this draft, it tells you what they really thought about the guys that they tried to hype up to us all off season when we're the Asim Richards, the Balls, the Waletzkos, the TJ Basses. Like, that's what this draft says to me, is they lied to us about their confidence in the depth of their offensive line.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind what the Cowboys' standard is, and I hate to go that way, but they're not good at a lot of things. Will McClay and his brain trust, but they can spot a pretty good offensive lineman. I mean, they have a pretty high track record of drafting, especially in the higher rounds. So
absolutely,
I don't fault them for getting the lineman. I didn't look at it as making up for past failures. I looked at it like they had a plan in this draft, and it was to go secure the offensive line for the next 5 years. That was the plan. They wanted to get one problem on this team that had been kind of slowly eroding kind of out of the way. And I think we should kind of look at that part of the draft as a remarkable success. They drafted 3 dudes that can all play a couple of different positions. It looks like they have the future left tackle, but he could be the future right tackle. And while this BB guy can't play center, he is capable, it appears, of maybe even attempting that. So with those 3, I think, and then you tie in the bringing back of Zeke. They got a whole bunch of guys. Well, no, listen to this. They brought a whole bunch of guys whose specialty is blocking. And Zeke is not the back he used to. I don't expect a whole lot. But there's one thing he can still do, and he can pick up a blitz. He was always one of the best guys out there. So there's a plan afoot. I don't know where this is going, but it was to secure the line and make up for last year's mistake on the defensive line. And they brought in a running back that blocks as well. I don't know what the plan is, but if the plan is to block well now and in the future, they made up for their losses, and they filled a position that, it's going to be around for a minute. So it's not sexy, it's not headline grabbing, but it's enough for me after a lackluster, if not absolutely dull offseason. They followed up with a dull draft, but at least I know what that means being a Cowboy fan. That's the one successful part of this program for the last decade.
Now, you bring up the fact that Zeke is a fantastic blocker when he's not playing center. And you add that to what they did in the draft and adding the offensive linemen that they did and the depth that they have, plus everything they've talked up about the guys they have on the roster currently. And does that lead you to believe that because remember last year it was, we need to run the damn ball, blah, 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 yada, 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 Mike McCarthy. And then we found out this team was best suited to throw the ball like every other Mike McCarthy offense we've ever seen. And they did it very well as the season progressed and got more comfortable within his system. Does these additions lend you to believe that they have ensured even further about protecting Dak and able to really open up this offense to what it truly should be? And are you going to roll your eyes
what should it be?
the first time Mike McCarthy says we're hell-bent on running the ball?
I hope the plan with this team as it's currently assembled, even with all the new offensive linemen's plan, is not 30 yards, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I don't think that this is a portent to a running football team. I do think it's a portent to a more physical football team, to at least be able to measure up when it's required. That being said, this is Dak. Dak was a near MVP because of that offense. They're not changing that. I don't expect that. But I don't think there's a difference between being a running football team and being a physical football team. And I think that they'd like to adopt a little bit of physicality without hurting the offense. And at the same time, that physicality will go toward the defensive side of the ball with just adding some more size. Just being a bigger defense and a stronger offensive line, I think, is more of the goal than leaning toward running the ball.
Now, the Houston Texans also completed their draft over the weekend, and although unspectacular, and especially when you compare it to what happened last year with all the things, you can argue the Texans did all of their heavy lifting in the all they had to do was take what they considered and deemed the best player, because absolutely none of those guys have to be asked to step in and start right away.
I don't have, it's good to be in a situation to draft the way that the Texans did, because, when you can take whoever is the best guy available. I will say I didn't really see, tell me what you see the Texans, what are they going to hang their hat on other than CJ? I mean, what are the Texans going to be?
Well, the Texans are basically San Francisco dirty coast. Like
Okay.
It's Bobby Slowick, it's D'Amico Ryans. They ran a very similar offense last year, but now after trying to force feed it with Dameon Pierce for the first half of the season, they realized the guy that understood the system better was Devin Singletary. Now that he's gone, they brought in a guy in Joe Mixon who ran a similar offense zone scheme up in Cincinnati and can do all of the things that Devin Singletary did, only even better, being a Pro Bowl caliber type back.
I like the cornerback. I think he can play. I think you talk about the luxury of drafting for want instead of need. I think that the Texans needed themselves a cornerback. So I thought that was a good get. The offensive lineman, solid. I think that the Texans are becoming, I don't know if they're going to be quite San Francisco, because I think D'Amico wants to have a little bit more of an active offense. But defensively, you can see D'Amico's print all over it, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that's really going to be physical up front with the ability to rotate a bunch of people. A lot of people thought they needed help at defensive tackle. I don't think the Texans necessarily thought they needed as much help as a lot of people did, because you got Danico Atre, you got Daniil Hunter, you have a Will Anderson on the edges, and at least with Atre, he can bump inside. And then you went out and got Fatakusi and Settle, and you have Khalil Davis already on the roster who played well. You added a Mario Edwards. Like, they have so much depth on that. Yeah, they've got so many bodies on that defensive line. His philosophy is, my defensive line will be fresh at all times.
I'll say this, young Texan fan, be ready for that first place schedule. Be ready for that schedule.
Oh, it's awful. I'm not looking forward to it, and I've cautioned all Texans fans against, overestimating a record. Yes, they added a lot. Yes, they have multiple weapons. Yes, it is a team that has a lot of talent, but it's also a team that won, I believe, 7 of 10 games were a one possession game on a last place schedule. And now you're playing a team where you are playing some of the best teams in every division. And even the teams that weren't the best in their division, like the Jets last year, they're going to be a better team this year, because Aaron Rodgers foreseeably will be healthy and a part of that roster.
Definitely a better football team, even if the record doesn't reflect it. I got to get into Wendy real quick, man. That was quite a thing that Brian Windhorst did this morning. That was a planned. On McAfee. Brian Windhorst, if you're just joining us, was on McAfee this morning, and basically just kind of rolled out the red carpet to San Antonio. Said somebody out there, a star of some measure, is looking and wanting to come to see San Antonio.
And Trey Young's the name to watch.
Well, I think Trey Young is probably the only name to watch, but there's other suitors. There's other teams that want him, and I think Spurs fan needs to watch this very, very closely, because we're watching a Spurs group, very set in their ways, but don't they hear the crowd? They hear the crowd is more than guys with big mouths and too much time on air like me. The crowd also includes the NBA itself. And the NBA needs San Antonio to get good now. There's no waiting. We're waving goodbye to Kevin Durant and LeBron and Steph Curry and this generation of players. It is time for Wemby to step into the spotlight, and he's a year behind schedule. So I think the NBA is putting some pressure, just letting it be known that anybody who has an offer that might be worthy, there might be something that will come down the pike that will benefit you, maybe some friendly scheduling. But, man, to take a hit for the rest of us, and maybe allow a guy you wouldn't normally allow to get to San Antonio via trade or via some kind of future compensation. I think there's a concerted effort to get San Antonio better fast. I say that tongue-in-cheek, but it is, seriously, I say that tongue-in-cheek, but the league does need Wemby and this team to get good. It's announced they're playing a couple games in Paris next year.
Yep.
They don't want to send Wemby over there to lose. Are you kidding me? So we're going to try as best as the league can to kind of foster an environment for the Spurs to improve quicker than later.
I'm glad you brought up Wemby because I wanted to ask you about that Windhorst thing specifically because of this. And Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle joining me here on Extra Innings with Pleasure. Catch him and RJ every morning, 6 to 10, right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Big announcement. Huge announcement on Friday.
Friday.
Just hang on.
Lock it
Friday. In. Huge. Lock it in on Friday.
But we talk about Wemby and them potentially skipping steps and going to get stuff, things that they were very averse to and openly averse to it all season, talking about it. But you look at teams like the Suns, who just got swept out of the playoffs, who spent everything they have to go skip steps and bring in superstars to play with one another. You look at the Bucks, who did a very similar thing, including ousting one of their coaches because their superstars weren't happy, which only made them worse. Are those cautionary tales, or would the Spurs front office look at those as cautionary tales as to foregoing the future to try and make things better right away?
Well, I don't think they're going to forego the future and send a lot of future picks. The Spurs have enough in their deck to send a few and keep a few. I think the cautionary tale of all in, I don't think the Spurs are looking to go to the finals next year. But I do think they're looking to be a very competitive basketball team and maybe compete in a series. That's really all the progression I think anybody can hope for. And that can be done, quite frankly, without a huge move, I think. We saw the team play like a playoff team against some non-playoff teams at the end of the year, but we saw the improvement. I don't expect it. I don't think the Spurs are chasing that either. And I do think it's a little bit duplicitous for Wemby.
That takes Trae Jones off the Trae Young.
Well, I do think that Trae Young is probably the most likely immediate, but probably not the most likely overall candidate for the Spurs to get. I think if the opportunity arises, they'd be crazy to say no. I'm not saying turn it down, but in hindsight, as we've watched the playoffs go through and we've watched what Wemby was capable of, Trae certainly fits a lot of the bill, but not all of the bill, you know? So I think that they're going to be very discerning. They'll wait for other offers and other opportunities before Trae Young. I don't think it'd be an immediate gets available, let's get him now kind of thing. I think they'll wait till through the free agency period unless they can lock this guy up for a long time and protect themselves deeper into the draft. I just don't expect that to happen. But what I do expect for Wemby to change his tune on that communist collective, hoop collective show that he has, the socialist thing that he puts. It wasn't that long ago where he was telling us, the Spurs were telling him, or the rumors were, that they're taking their time, baby. The OKC format is exactly the format the Spurs were following. And then 2 weeks later, suddenly he's talking about, you better speed up. And, you know, there's other teams coming. There's other people coming. There's other players wanting. I think he's changed his tune a little bit. And I can't tell if it's because of things he's hearing or things he's not hearing. You know what I mean? But he's certainly not talking about the same things he was just a month ago.
Well, remember, too, I mean, you're hearing it from all angles, and he's not divulging where he's hearing it from. He may be hearing it from other players.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
To go play with him, but the Spurs, at the same time, may not have that same sentiment as an organization.
Very well said. There is one other thing. Wemby came down to San Antonio. It's been a little over a month ago, and he spent about 4 days. Went to Austin, saw the Austin game, saw the brand new digs there at the Rock, and saw San Antonio. And from the moment he left, we did a kind of a LaMarcus recruiting trip on Wemby. I mean, he changed his tune from not only should they be waiting, but San Antonio is a cool city. You know, it ain't what it was. You know, what did we do for Wemby? I want to go where they took him. But his tune certainly changed after he came and spent some time with the Spurs. From the the NBA facility in the league and maybe the world. I mean, so he left this place preaching the glory and value of the Spurs. So they have their own recruiting tool in Wendy.
It was funny because on that Hoop Collective, or the Communist Regime podcast, whatever you like to call it, is the Hoop Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst and Tim Bonkins. They were the ones that were talking about, don't expect anything out of the Spurs this upcoming offseason. But at the same vein, Wemby mentioned players want to play there and went out of his way to say San Antonio is not the sleepy city that people portray it as, talking about its proximity to Austin, everything that Austin has, the new training center, and the potential of a new arena going downtown as well. I mean, he was very much singing the praises of San Antonio not being the city that people like to kind of liken it to.
I'd like to talk about that new arena, but I had to sign an NDA. I can't get into it right now. Did you read this? That anybody involved now that the Spurs are forcing to deal with an NDA?
I have not heard about this.
We're all very aware. Yes, there's a steady work afoot from the Spurs. They're afraid they're. Oh, by the way, I think we're building a stadium right there at the corner of Chavez and 37. I'm just saying it out loud. Wait, did I say that out loud? It appears that's fair edited. We can't talk about it, but anyway, come and get me, Spurs. No, I do think that the tune has changed, man, and I think that it is. I don't think Spurs fans should be upset by either track that the brain trust should choose to take, because here's the situation the Spurs find themselves in. I am firmly believe they're going to end up with Toronto's pick. They're not lucky enough for Toronto to fall out of that protected group. So or fall into that, so I don't think that they're going to get to wait and see that next year when it's not protected. So they're going to have 2 top 10 picks and 2 fairly average players. Not a very good draft. No, it's unfortunately that's what it is. So I'm not saying they're going to be bad players, but the chances of finding a legitimate contributor to a team this year, pretty slim, even after about pick 4. There's just not a lot there. So to see the improvement, you're going to have to see the guys on the roster that are here are going to have to genuinely look like they've been a year with Wemby. And there's going to have to be a couple of free agents. It's just going to have to happen. But it's going to be the value of these free agents. They're going to spend the requisite, $40 million a year for the supermax type, or they're just going to go plod along and wait for the trade deadline at the middle of the year, because that's when we'll truly see, I believe, this plan kick into full gear, when teams are starting to unload those contracts that expire at the end of the season, and the Spurs can grab somebody and sign and trade or do whatever they need to do. So the process will begin now, but really begin in earnest right at the trade deadline of next season.
So we're going to have 2 picks, likely in the top 10.
Probably.
Of the worst draft since probably the 2013 Anthony Bennett draft.
They're saying this could be the worst ever. Yeah, that's no joke. I mean, some of the good kids reclassified to this one, and some of them that they thought were going to reclassify didn't to the last year's draft. So there's not a lot of deep talent there. There's pieces and parts for sure, and there will be I don't know if there's going to be a Shea Gilgeous, but there's always somebody, and you hope you're the guy that stumbles on somebody like that at 12 or 10.
And to be fair, that 2013 draft did net 2 really good players at 10 and 15. CJ McCollum and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
So if they have if they do their due diligence and do the right thing, they'll get themselves better, but it won't be immediately apparent. There's not going to be somebody shows up and, is pushing for a starter's job.
He is Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle. Be sure to tune in every weekday from 6 to 10. And like he said, big announcement this Friday.
Coming big time. Be there. Be square. It's going to be cool.
Appreciate the time today, Rob.
James, have yourself a wonderful evening. Make sure you intake plenty of carbohydrates and hydrate well, and we will see you tomorrow.
You got it. That is Rob Thompson joining me on the Buyers Barricades guest line. All guests appear via the Buyers Barricade guest line, which provides traffic control, rental, and sales to San Antonio and beyond. They are online at buyersbarricades.com. Speaking of the NFL draft, lots being made of what Atlanta did, and in a negative should the Cowboys be looking to do what Atlanta did? Because I am not upset with the Falcons' early draft process or thought behind it. I'll explain next, right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with Rob and RJ.
Tuesday on the Morning Huddle, the NBA continues. Are the Pelicans fishing? And did the Celtics take care of business? We'll talk about it.
Plus, the NFL draft may have happened, but what are the states of the Cowboys and Texans? We have the answers. The Morning Huddle starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with Rob and RJ. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy?
Totalmente.
And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan, at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely.
Totalmente.
Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate without a pay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
Hormones can affect everything. Bad skin, bad hair, low energy, poor sleep, brain fogginess, libido, and weight gain. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we take a functional approach to your hormone problems. Eating right and exercise will not be beneficial without optimal hormone function. This goes for men and women. We do state-of-the-art testing to get to the root of your hormone issues and help you get well and stay well. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. We can help. 210-468-1891.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% on your choice of any 3 or more A.O. Smith water heaters. Plus, get an extra 5% off every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Get low prices on the materials you need today because Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at Lowe's.com/credit for details. U.S. only.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items launching exclusively at Lowe's, like the self-leveling laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect socket set for just $49.98. Get Klein tools in-store and online today, because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
What's the room again?
1240, down at the end.
Ooh, what's that? Sammy, don't touch that. That's someone's old food.
Here we are. Do you have the key?
You have both of ours.
Oh, right. Not working.
Rub it.
Come on.
Try flipping it over.
Seriously. Why can't we go inside? I'm tired.
Give me yours.
You have mine.
All right.
What?
Please, if you
Dad,
could just...
why aren't you opening the door?
Can everyone just shut the...
Don't go there. Go on a real vacation. Go RVing. Learn more at GoRVing.com.
Barbara is a real Prevagen user, and this is her story.
I'm Barbara, and I'm from St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm a retired school librarian. I'm also a library board trustee, a mother of 2, and a grandmother of 2. I like to be healthy. I exercise a lot. in a very healthy manner. I was working full-time, taking care of an ailing husband full-time. In short, I had an awful lot on my plate. Basically, I thought that my memory wasn't as good as it had been. I needed all the help I could get. I saw the commercials for Prevagen. I started taking it, and it helped. I noticed my memory was better. There was definite improvement. I take a supplement for my heart. Why not one for my brain? I've been taking Prevagen for a little over 5 years.
Prevagen is available in stores everywhere without a prescription. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
The NFL is on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me. You can also watch the show on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star. Appreciate everybody for running through tonight. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, comment along. Fred Robert Casares Jr. says, what were the Atlanta Falcons thinking drafting a quarterback when they just gave Kirk Cousins that huge deal? Fred Villarreal says it was a very strange move on Atlanta's part. I'm going to explain to you why it's a great idea. Because I loved what Atlanta did. I thought they crushed the first round of the draft with that. Because Dallas Turner is seen as a project of an offense or of a defensive lineman. Okay, if he's a project of a defensive lineman, not worth taking that early. You got two options: move down, or, as it's been reported, Michael Penix Jr. was the second highest rated quarterback on their board, behind Caleb Williams. Put him in the perfect situation. You've got the weapons. You've got the team there. You've got Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You've got Bijan Robinson. You've got Tyler Algiers. You've got the pieces and parts around that team. Take the best value. Take the quarterback. Let the quarterback, while Kirk Cousins has this massive $100 million guaranteed deal, let Kirk Cousins take the reins for a couple years. Plus, he's coming off an Achilles injury. No telling if he'll actually be healthy or not. But even if that's the case, you got Tyler Heineke backing him up. Perfect. You've got a ready-made veteran to kind of hold the reins. Why is that important? Look at what happened with Kansas City when they moved up to 10 and took Patrick Mahomes, and everybody killed them for it. He sat for a year behind Alex Smith, learned the game, was ready to take over the situation. Look at Jordan Love. Sits for 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. Finally gets his chance. Leads the team this year, not only to the postseason when they were supposed to be awful, but gives them a playoff victory over the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington and damn near beat the San Francisco 49ers in the next round. A lot of teams force these young quarterbacks coming from systems that aren't pro ready, like a Zach Wilson, like multiple other quarterbacks we've seen, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. I can go on and on and on with players who were either put on the field in terrible situations with zero weapons and zero offensive line help, or just not ready mentally to play in the NFL. Justin Fields is someone I think that could possibly overcome that if put in the right situation, give him weapons. But why not, when it has worked with some of these other quarterbacks and you have yourself the position to be able to do this, and let him sit and learn for a couple of years because you do have Kirk Cousins guaranteed all of this money? Why not take a guy that you don't have to put on the field for 2 to 3 years when he's ready to finally take over? This is the situation with all these Cowboy fans that want to move on from Dak Prescott. Need to understand, the succession plan is not in place. It would be better to extend Dak Prescott right now, continue to try and win with him, yet draft and develop somebody behind him to And even if he's ready to take over earlier, then like Aaron Rodgers, you can flip Dak Prescott as an asset to be able to bring multiple draft picks in return to also help build around that young quarterback on a rookie deal. That is the best way to go about this. That is what the Dallas Cowboys should be thinking about doing in the future, because I think the Atlanta Falcons did a great job in making sure their future is set up behind their present. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, we'll put a ball on the show. Brian Windhorst talking to Pat McAfee about the potential of a big move by the San Antonio Spurs in the coming months. We'll discuss and break down exactly who that should be coming up next, right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you missed the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you missed this.
Tyler Guyton joining us here on the Blitz.
You know, Tyler, I don't know if you're a mock draft guy, but most of the mock drafts that I read leading up to yesterday's draft had the Cowboys taking you at 24. I'm just wondering if you read any of that. Were you concerned when you saw that the Cowboys traded back?
I was. You know, there's a couple of other teams that I've been meeting with that have me high on their draft boards as well. And when I saw Dallas trade back, my heart dropped for sure, because this is really where I wanted to be. And they made it right. They came and got me. It was an amazing move. It's a nice chess move to get some more picks, and I completely respect that.
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Get ready for the ultimate pop culture experience at the Ace Superhero Comic-Con presented by Thomas J. Henry. Join us June 20th through the 23rd as we welcome Hawkeye's Jeremy Renner, Andor's Diego Luna, and many more stars. Plus, capture a free selfie and autograph with 10 of the celebrities in the free autograph zone. Indulge in our free play arcade, explore Vendor Village, and rock out to daily concerts. Don't miss out. Get your event passes now at bmxevents.com.
Let our team keep your home running comfortable and worry-free. Call on Mr. Electric for all your electrical needs. 210-248-2026. Or get a hold of us online at mrelectric.com and enter your zip code.
License number TECL 34221.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Hey there, business ballers and entrepreneurs. Ready to make your financial dreams come true? Well, get ready to score big with swishfunding.com, the slam dunk solution for all your business funding needs. Just like that satisfying swish when the ball guarantees you a seamless funding experience. Working capital, expanding your business, upgrading your equipment, or even covering payroll. If you have at least $25,000 in monthly revenue and been in business for at least 1 year, qualifying is easier than a layup. At Swish Funding, we fund up to $5 million in 24 hours. SwishFunding.com's team will guide you every step of the way. No more banking red tape, just quick, decisive action to get you back in the game. Head over to swishfunding.com and slam dunk your financial goals today. Remember, it's not just a shot in the dark, it's a surefire swish. Go to swishfunding.com. That's SWISH funding.com. Swishfunding.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Folks, quality is a huge deal. It's what I look for when I recommend something to my listeners. It means you can depend on it. Quality means it won't let you down. It's something you can be proud of. Well, that's the definition of a Connecticut water softener. With other water softener brands, you just never know. Maybe they work half the time or they're just plain junk. A Connecticut water softener is up to 80% more efficient than competing models and will be the last water softener you'll ever own. That's because you're buying quality, and it's backed up with an outstanding 10-year warranty, too. If you're ready to enjoy all the benefits that come with quality, bring home a Connecticut water softener. Call the team at Connecticut at 656-PURE or online at ConnecticutSA.com. That's 656-PURE or ConnecticutSA.com and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
Hey, it's Jim Rome, and it's great to be back in San Antonio. Join me weekdays at noon on my new home, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Like, subscribe, comment along. Appreciate all y'all for riding along with me tonight as we take you up to 7 o'clock here on San Antonio Sports Star. It's going to be very interesting to kind of see how the offseason unfolds. Daniel Batista mentions if the Suns break up their core, would Durant fit with Wemby? That is a very interesting question. If I'm breaking up the Suns core, Durant's the one piece I want to hold on to outside of Booker. It's Beal I'm trying to get rid of, if we're being honest. But a playoff reaction, man. You've got the Suns, which were a complete dumpster fire. And then after the Suns, you can argue the Bucks on the verge of elimination. No Giannis, no Dame. Even when they played together, they were below 500 under Doc Rivers once he took over for the season. This was a team that was 30-13 when they fired their head coach. That's right. When Adrian was fired, they were 30-13. So that's a team that is absolutely, I don't know how you fix it outside of the head coach. It was a good team. It was not performing exactly how you wanted them to, but they were one of the best teams in the East. They get rid of their head coach and somehow become worse. There are a lot of issues with a lot of these teams, but two teams that look so much better than we thought they would. And I think, if we're paying attention, should have realized they were going to be this good. Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Both were great teams during the regular season. Nobody wanted to give them the credit that they deserve. And they have proven that they are who they proved they were during the regular season. As the Thunder are on the verge of a sweep and moving on to the next round, while the T-Wolves have already completed said sweep and are on to the next round. The biggest test.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The NBA playoffs continue tonight, starting with the Celtics and the Heat in Game 4. Boston with a chance to go up 3-1 after a The weekend, Celtics 9-2 in their last 11 games in Miami, and they're off and running early, on top by double digits, 29-18, 2:20 to go in the first quarter. Been a great start for Derek White, 16 points, 6 of 8 from the field. Jaylen Brown has added 5 for the C's. Tyler Hero has a Heat-high 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Boston favored by 10.5 on ESPN Bet. Tonight, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Thunder Pelicans, OKC with a chance for a sweep. No Zion for the Pelicans. For the first 3 games of the series, he's out again tonight. Thunder have won the last 2 games of the series by a combined 53 points, favored by 4.5 on ESPN Bet tonight. Pelicans trying to avoid the sweep. Suns couldn't last night. Phoenix bounced in 4 by the Timberwolves, marking a very disappointing end for the Suns in a season with high expectations. ESPN's Brian Windhorst thinks it's a rough road ahead for Phoenix.
He has 2 years and $105 million on his contract. But because he is eligible for a contract extension, it creates a natural moment for Durant and the team to basically make a comment on each other.
Windhorst on the Pat McAfee Show in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Panthers and Lightning scoreless after 1.
Hey, it's Greeny, and Tuesday morning